You see that final keyword everywhere in Java code, right? But what's it really doing? It seems simple, but it's actually the source of some pretty tricky bugs and a lot of confusion. So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down and get to the bottom of final, once and for all. You've seen it on fields, parameters, local variables, you name it. But what's the one core concept you absolutely have to get? Well, turns out it all boils down to a single, incredibly simple rule. If you get this one thing, you've pretty much mastered final. And here it is, the golden rule. The whole secret to the final keyword is this: assign once. That's it. Seriously, this one little principle is the key that unlocks everything about final, no matter where you find it in your code. Now, if you crack open the official Java specification, it says it a little more formally, but it's the exact same idea. Once a final variable gets a value, that's it. It's locked in. You get one shot to set it, and after that, it's set for life. A great way to think about it is like you're writing on a label with a permanent marker. Once you've written something down, that's it. You can't erase it, you can't white it out, you can't change it. One single assignment, and it's final. So where does this assign once rule actually pop up when you're coding? Well, you're going to see final in a few key places, and this rule has some really interesting implications in each of those spots. Okay, so when we're talking about final fields inside a class, Java gives you exactly 3 moments where you can make that one and only assignment. You can do it right when you declare it, you can use an initializer block, or, and this is super common, you can do it inside the constructor. And this brings up a cool term, a blank final. That's just a final field that you don't initialize right away. And this is so useful. I mean, think about a user class where the user's ID is final. You can't possibly know the ID until the object is actually being created, right? So you assign it in the constructor. That is a perfect example of a blank final in action. Now, this is a really important distinction. A static final field, that's a true universal constant for the entire class. Think of math.pi. There's only one value of pi for the whole system. But a regular, non-static final field is constant per object. So every single instance of your class gets its own unique, unchangeable value. It's like a serial number stamped onto a product at the factory. All right, let's get into the #1 trap that developers fall into with the final keyword. I've seen this catch so many people off guard. It's all about what final actually protects and, more importantly, what it doesn't. Let this one sink in because it's the whole ballgame right here. Final locks the reference, the pointer, the label. It does not lock the object itself. These are two totally different things, and if you mix them up, you can get some really unexpected behavior. Just look at this example right here. We've got a final list of names. We can totally add to it, we can remove things, we can clear the whole list, no problem. Why? Because we're changing the contents of the list object that names points to. But the moment we try to make that names variable point to a completely new list, boom, the compiler shuts it down, the reference is final, it can't be changed to point somewhere else. Okay, so final is more than just a one-trick pony for assignment. It actually has a couple of hidden superpowers that are absolutely critical for writing modern, safe Java code, especially when you get into things like concurrency and lambdas. First up, concurrency. Final is your best friend when you're dealing with multiple threads. It gives you a crucial safety guarantee. When you make a field final, Java promises that once an object is created, every single other thread will see the correct, fully initialized value of that field. No more bizarre bugs from one thread seeing a half-built object. It's a huge deal. And superpower #2, lambdas. If you've ever tried to use a local variable from outside a lambda expression, you've definitely run into this rule. Java insists that variable has to be final or what's called effectively final. And why is that? Well, imagine if the variable could change after the lambda was created. Which value should the lambda use? The old one? The new one? To avoid that whole mess, Java just locks the value in place. And that brings us to this idea of being effectively final. This is pretty cool. It means that even if you forget to type the word final, as long as your code only ever assigns a value to that variable one time, the compiler just treats it as if it were final. It's our assign once rule just being enforced for us automatically. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's talk about the how. Let's put this all together into a quick practical checklist for when and where you should be using final to make your code clearer and more robust. So here's the bottom line. Do use final for true constants, and absolutely use it for the private fields when you're designing immutable classes.
It's also fantastic for just signaling your intent, making it clear that a parameter or a local variable isn't supposed to change. But, and this is key, don't rely on final to magically make an object immutable, and don't think it solves all your threading problems. It's a powerful tool, but it's not a silver bullet. And there you have it. The final keyword, hopefully, is not so mysterious anymore. It really does all come back to that one simple golden rule: assign once. So now that you know the rules and you know the traps to avoid, how is this going to change the way you write your code from now on?